Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. If you were with me yesterday, you know that I was having some camera issues, which appears to be happening again today with my StreamYard. So I do apologize, but I am going to have to use some tools today to keep me focused and know that you guys are seeing this. It is very distracting for me not to be able to see what is going on here. So I do apologize, but I'm going to set up my phone while I get this going before I really get started because I can't see what you guys are seeing, which makes it very difficult for me to concentrate and do what I'm supposed to be doing here. So thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to join me. I am sorry that this is been just another day of technical difficulties. Apparently, I'm having the same problem that I did yesterday. So, Rashawn, hello, how are you? I see you there, Moira. Let me know if you guys can see and hear me okay. And I can't find it on Facebook. But I'm just going to have to go with it and improv. And I am so sorry. I know yesterday I was distracted. These technical difficulties are driving me crazy. I can't help it. So, oh, good. You see me. Great. Thank you so much. So I do apologize for that. But I think after this, I was hoping yesterday would be the one day that this was happening and it wouldn't happen again. But apparently it is. So I do apologize for that. I'm actually going to turn down my sound so you guys don't have to hear my notifications coming in. So thank you again for taking the time out of your day to join me. I just wanted to go over a little bit about what we're doing this week. I do welcome you to the Proven Preschool Enrollment Formula or the Proven Childcare Enrollment Formula. And I'm so excited to be able to help you and bring this to you today. Again, I am sorry if I keep looking down at my laptop, but I lost my screen. So I'm trying to figure out how I can follow along with my notes while I'm talking to you with my screen blacked out. So bear with me. This is the one thing that is not fun about doing live presentations like this is I kind of just have to go with it. And I just have to hope for the best sometimes. And that's where I'm at right now. So let me know in the comments if you've gotten any takeaways. I'm hoping I can at least see comments from you guys. Yes, I can see your comments. Just can't hear or see anything else. So again, I want to go over with you guys the pillars that we're going to be going over this week and knowing also what's coming throughout the week. So yesterday we talked about knowing your superpower, knowing what sets you apart. One of the things that you can do if you want to really get more information on this and really help setting this up, listen to the podcast episode that I created on creating your vision. Knowing your vision is really going to help you with this. Knowing who you are, really to the core, who you want to be, right? That is going to be a game changer in this area of really figuring that out. So listen to my podcast episode it'll really help with what I taught yesterday. Today, we're going to talk about your presence, your being seen and being heard, right? We want to make sure that you're seen. And then we're going to talk about your professional persona. Who are you out in the world? Are you intentionally creating that? And then basically every day this week, we're going to talk about one of the different pillars. If you don't have your workbook, make sure you ask whoever your concierge for this is for the workbook. All of the things that we're doing are going to be along in the workbook. What I'm teaching, I've created the workbook. I literally look at it here. Normally, I would be sharing it with you guys so you could see it as well. But since I can't see my screen, it is a little bit harder for me to share that workbook with you right now. So, and I can't see my phone either. So I'm just going to have to wing it. I am sorry. I'm not used to doing it this way. So I do apologize if I seem distracted. It is a little bit distracting for me when my screen is blank. So I can't see, and I have to, normally I can just like pop in and out and see my notes at the same time. But right now I literally have to go in and manually move around, and it's really distracting for me right now. So I do apologize. Again, I was hoping this would just be yesterday. So I'm going to just dive in to what we're talking about today. I don't want to waste your time and my own time. So today we're really going to be talking about being found. And also, before I forget, stick around for the word of the day. Every day I am dropping a different word. At the end of this week, if you give your concierge every word every day, I want each word every day to go to your concierge. By the end of the week, you're going to have a phrase created, right? So if you send them your word every single day, and then at the end of the week, if you give them the phrase, you are actually going to get my advertising kit that I use during the enrollment process for free. I'm going to send you the PDF. I'm going to give it to my advisors who are working as your concierge today, and they will send it to you for free. If you don't have a concierge, let us know in the comments. My goal is not to waste your time, not to waste my time. And in order to accomplish that, I want to make sure that you're having an interactive experience. Like I said yesterday, only 3% of trainings are actually ever implemented. I don't want to waste my own time by putting this content into the world and knowing that only 3% is actually going to be implemented. So I really want to drive that statistic up, which is why we make this so interactive. It's why I put homework out for you every day. It's why I ask you to be present and live, or even if you have to watch the replay, I want you to do it every day. It's why I ask you to engage in conversation with your concierge who is messaging you right now. If you haven't received a message, check your DM. There's a good chance that your concierge has already DM'd you. So check and see. You might have to go into the hidden folder of people who aren't your friends and just allow those messages to come in. That is how I'm ensuring that I take that statistic up from 3% to at least 50%, right? Even if just half of what I put out there, then I don't feel like it's a waste of yours or my time. So make sure that you let your concierge know that you're here. If you don't have one, make sure you let us know in the comments and we can get you one. If you'll see, my team is actually tagging people right now as we speak. If your name is tagged, the person that tagged you is your concierge. So just let you know that is basically who your main point of contact will be through this process. Hi, Andrea. I see you. The Andrea is here. Hello. Thank you for joining me. And again, it gets lonely on this side of the camera, so please make sure to engage. Let me know you're here. Ask questions, comment. It just reminds me that you guys are here, especially when I can't see anything. My screen is literally black. So it really does help to see things come in the comments to know that I'm not alone over here on this side of the camera. So I want to talk to you guys today about being found. And I really want to talk about how is it that you're going to stand out from the crowd in a sea of childcare, right? Again, I want to also remind you guys, yesterday I was telling you guys about how only 20% of the population of children in our demographic that needs childcare is actually in care. So a lot of times we think that there's just too much competition, that the market's too oversaturated, but that's not true. There's only 20% of the children that could use our services are actually enrolled. So I talked to you a little bit yesterday about educating your families on why is that child better with you than they are at home with the neighbor, right? Or in an unlicensed childcare program, a family home, right? That's not licensed. Licensed family homes are amazing and wonderful. I have clients that are licensed family homes and I stand by them wholeheartedly. But the unlicensed ones, if they're not licensed, I always question, why aren't you licensed? If you're going to do what is best for the children, then why aren't you getting your license, right? So how do we educate families on that? Making sure you educate families is so important. Well, what else is very important is your ability to be found, right? I know I see a lot of people talking about, I'm going to get a radio spot for advertisement. I'm going to get a commercial. All the different things that we talk about. Well, I want you to think back to yesterday. Hopefully you did what I asked and you really, really looked at who is your target market, right? And knowing who they are. Again, that is all in the workbook. And what I'm going along today is also in the workbook. What I want you to ask yourself is, does your target market listen to the radio? Are they watching TV? I don't listen to the radio locally at all. I don't listen to a single local radio station, right? I listen to either satellite radio or all YouTube radio, but I do not engage in radio. I also don't scroll through social media. So if I were your target market, how are you going to get to me? How are you going to make sure I find you, right? Most of the people that we are marketing to, if you think about it, how old is the average parent of a child that is between birth and 5 years old? They're usually going to be under 30, right? Under 35 normally is that demographic, but the majority of them are under 30. So a lot of times owners and directors are more my age, and we've lost that relatability factor with people who are younger and under 30. So we basically have to think like they think. We have to be where they are. So yesterday you got to know who they are, right? You really, really dive deep. And hopefully you thought about the fact, okay, well, who's having these babies that I need to enroll? Who's having the 2 and 3-year-olds that I need to enroll, right? Who are their parents? What age are they? So I told you, I want to even know what car they drive, right? Well, I want to know what age they are too. I want to know their income demographic. Knowing the demographics is so very important because that's going to be the difference between, are they even on Facebook? I know my 24-year-old does not go on Facebook. Does he have an account? Yes, but he never goes on Facebook, right? They're not on Facebook. So they may be on Instagram. They may be on TikTok. They might be on Twitter. Probably not likely, but they're probably definitely on Snapchat. They're probably on Instagram, right? So we have to think of, where are they searching? What are they looking for? Are there any really good groups in your area that maybe they are on Facebook, but they're in a specific mom's group? Well, figuring out where are these people currently virtually hanging out is so important. And let me explain why. For you, those of us in my generation, we are used to traditional ways of thinking and looking for things, right? But that isn't how this up and coming generation thinks and isn't how they look for things. And even we no longer look for things. I was in Dallas yesterday, just got home today. And the entire time I was there, if I wanted to find food, if I wanted to go shopping, I picked up my phone and I Google searched, right? I went into Google Maps and I searched. Not one time did I listen to a radio ad, turn the TV on. I did turn the TV on, but not for advertising. I kind of blocked that out. Not one time did I look at a billboard. None of it. I went into my phone and did a Google search. So making sure that you are actually really putting a very strong online presence into the world is extremely important. For my clients, if you guys last week, I know Mandy did an amazing marketing. She did something on marketing for you guys, which was awesome. I'm not going to go into that much detail about all the different opportunities that are out there. I really just want to get you guys to think a little bit differently. I want to change your mindset a little bit, right? And get you in on that gear. But for my members, if you are really interested in this and want a much more in-depth knowledge on this, watch last week's training that Mandy did for you. It'll really get you more in depth. But for the rest of you, I really want you to start thinking on, where are these people looking? Where can you find them? Right? And of course, where do you want to be in their ecosystem so that maybe ones that aren't pregnant today and have no children yet, maybe 2 years from now, they do have a child and you want your center's name to be the first to pop in their head. But when it is, how are they going to find you? They're still going to search you online. So you have to have a website. You do. I know I get so many people who ask me, do I have to have a website? Should my childcare center have a website? Absolutely. Absolutely. You need a website for several reasons. But not only do you need a website, but you need all of the things. You need to have a Facebook page. You need to have an Instagram. You need all of the things, right? Because we need to be found everywhere we go. And it all really comes down to the SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. When people search for childcare in your area, you want to be the first to pop up. You want to make sure that you are always the first to pop up. And there's several ways we can do that. If you think about what drives a search engine, it's words. We type in lots of words and they populate with our options, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can do to help create more of those words. I have a blog on my child care center's page on our website, and it doesn't have to be a lot. I know that's a scary thought. Like, I'm not writing a blog, right? It doesn't have to be what you think. All I did a few years ago was I wrote a couple of different blog posts on things that parents ask us the most, or the things we really, really want them to know. Like one of my blog posts is named My Child Doesn't Do That at Home, right? Because how often do we hear, my child doesn't do that at home? So it serves two purposes. And every now and then I'll put a new blog up there if it serves our agenda. But basically, they're going to serve two purposes. They're going to get more words. So as parents are searching, they're finding you, right? So the words make you more easily to be found. So blogs are producing lots of words that are going to help you to be found. The second thing that you're doing is you're using it as a way to educate your families. If you have a parent whose child keeps saying, or the parent keeps telling you, my child doesn't do this at home, you give them a copy of the article. It's done for you. We have articles on how to start your child in childcare. We explain to them the process, and your child probably will cry, all of those things, right? Potty training, different things like that. The other thing too is it puts the information out there in your community, and it helps to prove your expertise. So having a website is very important. A blog is extremely helpful to help you getting found. The other thing too is do not underestimate the power of YouTube and Facebook. YouTube is the second largest database in the world, or search engine. That's what it is. It's the second biggest search engine in the world, right? And so even if you do a really quick YouTube video, create an account for your childcare center, do a virtual tour, even if you don't say anything and have some pretty music playing, walk around your, with your phone, but make sure it looks very, very nice. You want to be found. You want to maximize the use of those searches and be found, right? Facebook is another very powerful search engine. If you Google a lot of things, I noticed when I was looking for restaurants while I was in Dallas, whenever I Google searched their Facebook pages a lot of times came up before their websites did, right? Most of the time, Facebook pages came up first. So you want your childcare center to have a really good Facebook page, right? So you've got to have that online presence. When you have those things established, you need to make sure they look really good, because that is your first impression. Your website, your Facebook page, whatever you're putting out into the world, that is the first impression that everybody is getting of your center. So if that's the first impression, you want to make sure it looks stellar and that people want to come to your center. It's inviting, it looks professional, and you really are stating this is what we do here, right? So your Facebook group page is a great opportunity to really showcase what you guys do. So be intentional about managing that. Keep it up to date, keep it active, so that Facebook keeps you up in those algorithms when it comes to search. The other thing is that there are a lot of different free opportunities for you to advertise out there that you may not have even known about. We all know care.com, but did you know that you can list your childcare center in care.com for free? You can actually have a profile for your childcare center in care.com for free. So if somebody is searching for a nanny or anything else in your demographic and they go to care.com, your center is going to pop up, right? Well, the other thing is care.com pays a lot of money for advertising. So why not let them pay for the advertising for your center instead of you paying for it yourself, right? There are several different websites who you can post your center in for free, Or you might be already posted in a lot of them, so you need to go in and claim your business. Like if you go in and look your center up on Google Maps, Google probably already has a company profile set up for you that you need to claim so that you can intentionally start managing it, right? Yelp is another one. Yelp may already have you. You need to claim that so that you can start intentionally really managing that. What I would really suggest you do is two things. Google search your childcare center, see where you're popping up. If you don't have ownership of those specific accounts, make sure you take ownership of them. Okay. That way you are controlling the narrative and what is out into the world about your childcare center. The next thing is start creating more of them. If you find um, like other things that are coming up, look at the ones that come up first. Click on them. How does your website or your Facebook page or whatever it is, how does it compare to theirs? You want to at least be equal to them when it comes to the caliber and professionalism of them. You want to make sure that you are putting your first foot forward because this is your first impression. I cannot stress that to you enough. How many times are you looking for a restaurant? I know I do this myself. And if I'm looking and the ad on Google search doesn't look good, right? Or if I'm in Google Maps, like I was a lot this weekend, I'm not even going to give them a chance. I also look at reviews. Reviews are very, very important. If they have a lot more negative reviews than they have positive reviews, I'm not going to give them a chance at all. Keep in mind, don't let negative reviews scare you too much. I know we all get them eventually. If you've been in business long enough, you will get a negative review. It's just inevitable. So when you do, don't let it deter you so much. You just need to intentionally make sure you have more positive than negative. But before I get to that, I just want to reassure you guys, because I know that's in a lot of your minds. I want to go back to creating these accounts. So after you search your specific childcare center in your city and you come up with the data and see where accounts are set up, and maybe you want to do this the other way around. I want you to probably start here. Just do a Google search of daycare and the city you live in. And yes, I said daycare. And let me explain why. When parents were, there was a study done, I think it was, I don't remember if it was 0 to 3 or NEYC, but basically there was a study done on when parents are looking for childcare, what are they searching for? 90% of the time, they're searching for daycare, not childcare. Yesterday, I talked to you guys about jargon, using all of these phrases that we use within our industry, right? And we literally talked about how I don't allow my center to be called a daycare. I don't allow my staff or my parents to. But we need to remember the parents don't know that. They haven't been educated yet on what is the difference between a daycare, a childcare center, and a preschool, right? They don't know that. So we have to meet them where they're at. We can't expect them just to know where we are, right? So when it comes to searches, we have to include the word daycare in our SEO, which is our search engine optimization. It's all the words that we use, right? You've got to put it in there because that's what 90% of families are Googling. So when you do this, I want you to Google your city name or whatever region you're in. Like if you're in New York, maybe specifically do like Queens, New York, and then childcare, daycare, whatever. I do all of it. I'll do like daycare, childcare, whichever ones. What you're going to notice is a lot of different websites that are paying for advertising are going to be populated first. And most of the time, they're not even childcare centers. It's things like goodschools.com, again, care.com. There's things that are similar to Angie's List. Tutris is another one that we get money for referrals. Okay, there you go, Rashawn. That's awesome. So there's a lot of them that come up, but I want you to see what are those first ones that come up, because everybody in your community that's looking for childcare, that's what they're Googling and that's what they're seeing first. You want to go into every single one of those websites and establish an account for your center. I've never ran into one that I had to pay for. They're always free. right? So just take the time and establish your center. Get the links to your website, your Facebook page on there so that they can track you down and find you. But that is a free way, taking a little bit of time to make sure that when you are attracting new parents through Google search, you're coming up first all the time, right? Make sure you're everywhere. That way, when people are looking through the internet, they're finding you. And this isn't something you really have to pay for. I've never paid for advertising for my childcare center when it on the internet. So I have paid other unsuccessful ways of advertising, but I've never paid for it on the internet. And I just figured out there's so many free opportunities when you do it right and take advantage of all the other companies that are already paying for advertising. Care.com is doing it for you, right? Super Pages is doing it for you. The Yellow Pages is doing it for you. Yelp is doing it for you. Just make sure you have a very, very strong account established on those pages. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about after like that SEO searching, making sure that you're coming up on SEO is, let's see, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought because of my screen trying to go back and forth. It's making it hard for me to concentrate here. So the next thing I want to talk about is what is the next steps. If you follow the progression of what a parent is going to do, they're going to first do a Google search. They're going to find you somewhere online, right? Hopefully it links to you. Sometimes it's going to be on Yelp. Sometimes it's going to be Google. And so you really want to take control of those reviews, right? We are all inevitably going to get those negative reviews from customers. It happens. I got one that was crazy. We had a child that basically she was inside getting her diaper changed with one teacher who was actually breaking another teacher. And mom came during out playground time to pick up. She went outside. Her daughter wasn't on the playground. Without asking anybody, mom assumed that we had lost her child. Didn't bother to say, hey, where's my child? She just knew, oh my gosh, my child's class is on the playground and she's not here. And she lost it. Well, it turned out that the other teacher in the room was just taking her in for a diaper change. But mom never gave us the chance to even explain that when the teacher who was breaking the other teacher came out with her child, because it wasn't the teacher she's used to seeing and it wasn't a normal time for her to pick up. She assumed that this teacher found her daughter wandering the school just because it was someone she didn't recognize. She never took into account that our teachers take lunch and we have breakers, right? Because she's never there in the middle of the day. So she's never seen the process. Didn't let us explain. Didn't let my director get a word in edgewise. Didn't let even, I'll tell you what, our early intervention, this child was part of early intervention. They even tried to explain it to her because they were actually there at the time working with another child and she was a part of their program. So this isn't even somebody who works for my organization. They even tried to say to her, she was never lost. She just was getting her diaper changed. But mom was so traumatized and stuck in her head that she went and just wrote reviews about us everywhere. And literally this entire incident, from the time mom walked into my building to the time she left, was about 4 minutes. But she told everybody that her daughter was lost for a full 15 minutes and that everybody was panicked looking for her in the building. No grounds. But to her mom, that was real to her, right? So you can imagine if I wasn't already controlling what is going into my social media, what my reviews look like, that could be a really damaging review. That's not even true, right? But because I've intentionally taken control of these reviews and I make sure that we have so many positive reviews out there, it really did no good at all. That one review got so buried that if you go to Yelp, you don't even see it anymore. And that didn't happen very long ago, but it just gets so buried that you really don't even have to worry about it. So the way I did this and took control, and I still do, is I went in and made a QR codes for our Yelp, our Facebook, and Google. Any of the really, really popular places where people can review, right? I think altogether, I think I did 4 or 5. I think I did more than that. I think I did the Yellow Pages. I did more. But basically, I did the same thing I'm telling you to do. Google, find those websites, any of them that take reviews, get your URL for whatever your site, your childcare center is populating, right? Go in and make a free QR code. If you just Google search free QR code creator, there's tons of websites and they are so easy to use. You literally go in, you just copy and paste the URL and it generates a QR code for you. So what I did was I created a flyer. I put each one of those QR codes. So Google's going to have one QR code. Yelp is going to have a QR code. Care.com might have a QR code. All of them have a QR code, right? We made this thing on the front counter, and basically it just said, give us a positive review, and we will put you in a drawing to enter you into a free weeks of tuition, right? And it doesn't have to be a free week. It can be a $50 off your tuition, right? For every individual review that person did, we gave them one ticket into the drawing, right? And we do this occasionally so that we keep it going and we keep it fresh, right? And so basically, we now have so many positive reviews because we proactively go out and seek the positive reviews that we no longer have to really worry about that negativity. The other thing that helps with is it trains your parents to brag about you. So when that lady went and started blasting us on Facebook, which she did, and I cannot even tell you how much she blasted us. She had all her friends share it. She went to every single Facebook group that my city has and posted it. She went on everywhere she could. She blasted us. But my families are so used to bragging about us that they all gathered together and all commented on everything she did. Like, oh, no, that couldn't be. You must be mistaken. They're the best. And we had such an overwhelming response with positivity that it drowned out the negativity, right? And I did a whole podcast episode on this that really explains in detail. So you guys check that out. There is a podcast episode that'll give you much, much more detail. Let's see. Colleen says, what's a good way to encourage parents to do reviews? The incentives. I think you asked that before I explained that. So just incentivize them. Incentives for everything. One time I even did, I think it was like a $10 gift card to Starbucks if they did it. That got really expensive though. So I would not recommend that unless it's really up to you. It depends on decide how much do you want to invest, right? Because just think about, like, even if it's a $5 gift card to, I guess, would probably be more realistic, because you could have about 50 parents suddenly doing reviews, and that $10 gift card can suddenly become $500, right? So figure out some way to incentivize them. The raffle did it for us. And all they did was showed us that they reviewed. You could go and verify. And for each one, we just gave them a raffle ticket, put it in the raffle bucket. And then I think we've done $50 off tuition one time. We did free tuition one time. We do different things to keep it going. That is also something you want to think about, is keep it going. It's not a one-time and done, because that also is going to help. The other thing with that too is that Yelp and different organizations like that, if your center has more activity, they are going to bump you up to the top, right? If yours seems like a popular spot, they are going to bump you up to the top in the searches. So that's something else to keep in mind. So the last thing I want to talk about today is I want you to think about what happens next. They're going to do the Google search first, right? When they're first inquiring, they're going to find you. They're going to see that you look amazing. And even if they look at other centers, which they will, because hopefully most parents aren't just going to take the first thing they see. Hopefully they're going to look at other centers as well. They're going to say, wow, this center has so many great reviews. They're doing such a good job. Their website, everything, and you don't consciously think to yourself, oh, wow, that website, I do. But most people don't consciously think, oh, that website looks so much more professional. But they do look at reviews, right? So they're going to call you. The next step, the next normal logical step is they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to give you a phone call, right? So you want to be ready for that phone call. And in order to be ready for that phone call, you really want to make sure that you have a script ready, and that you're being professional. If you have the workbook, the script I use is actually the last page of your workbook. I'm giving you guys this for free as part of this training for taking the time out. So remember that the phone call, though, is going to be the first that personal contact that this person has with your center. So it is imperative that, one, the phones are answered, and two, when they're answered in the most professional manner possible. I cannot stress that to you guys enough. The phones have to be answered, right? I know this is hard for childcare centers, but it has to be done. At my center, I literally went and bought a 5-pack of cordless phones because we have a big building. I know if the phone rings and my director's in the back, she can't get to the phone. So we have them spread out all over the building so that there is always a phone close by, right? And that somebody can get to. We also have teachers trained. Specific teachers in specific classrooms are trained to answer the phones. They're trained to know what to say. They follow a script. They're trained on how do you handle yourself on the phone, because you need to make sure that they are professional and nice and courteous. In our industry, we don't always know that being professional takes intentionality. We are desperate to be seen as professionals, but we don't always want to behave as professionals. So that phone call, everything is very important to always be conscious of what are you putting out into the world? What image are you putting out into the world, even when it's answering the phone, right? The other thing I want you to think about on that context is that we are used to being in a state of organized chaos in a child care center, right? Which there is nothing wrong with that. When you work with children for a living, there is an element of organized chaos. We are so used to that we forget that parents aren't. They don't understand that. So if you're in a classroom when you answer the phone, or if your teacher is in a classroom when they answer the phone, they need to explain themselves. They need to make sure that the parent understands and knows what the background noise they're hearing is. And it's really a simple thing to do. Just say something like, I am covering one of my teachers in the classroom right now, so I know you can probably hear all the fun and excitement that's happening in the background, right? Or I was just in one of my classrooms talking to, so you can probably hear all the fun and excitement that's happening in the background. If there's a baby or something crying, acknowledge that as well. Say, I am sorry. I know you can hear the baby crying in the background, but I wanted to step in and help my teachers out since there was one of our little guys who needed some extra TLC, right? Do not ignore the background noise. Don't shut it out. It sounds chaotic and it doesn't sound professional to the outside world. Is it? Yeah, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying you have to step out of the classroom to answer the phone. Just acknowledge it. Help parents understand what it's like to be in our world, right? Help them to put a positive spin. When you leave questions unanswered, which hearing things in the background is going to make parents form questions in their mind, our brains are kind of geared to find negative reasons why things are happening. So we want to always be in control of the narrative. Don't leave those questions unanswered. Like if a parent calls and they hear a screaming child in the background, they're going to automatically jump to the conclusion of, oh my gosh, they let children scream. Oh, that's all I heard, right? But if you explain to them, like, I always want to be there for my staff. So I had to step in the room when I heard that one of our children needed some extra TLC. Then it's going to be like, oh, wow, that person actually goes and helps their staff. Well, yeah, children cry. It's natural, right? They're going to cry. Nothing's ever perfect. But this staff cares enough about each other that they step in and help. So you really want to control the narrative of what they're hearing in the background. I know at my center, my teachers break in our front lobby. So sometimes when we answer the phone, they might hear teachers laughing. Acknowledge that too. Oh, I know that, you might hear some conversations happening in the background. My teachers are just recharging so they can return to the classroom the best they can for the children, right? Don't ignore what's happening. You have to make sure that phone call is professional and make sure you're ready for the phone call. The other thing is, if you'll notice in my phone script, which is at the very last page, you want to make sure you're being very courteous. So when you answer the phone, we do something where we'll just, thank you for calling Zooming Around. My name is Evelyn. Can I ask you your name? Get their name. Make it personal, right? If you notice, I have fill in the blanks. When a staff member is getting used to using the script, I literally want them to write these things down. Write down the child's name and the parent's name and make sure you're using it again. If you follow the script, it literally has you use the child's name and the parent's name again. Keep those notes. So if the parent comes back for a tour, which we'll talk about the tour in more detail, you remember their name. It is very important to people. Think about it. When you remember somebody's name, that is very, very important. I know for me, when somebody remembers my name, I'm always very impressed because we live in a society now that we almost give people permission not to remember. So when somebody actually takes that extra time to remember and they actually invest in that, it does tell me this person's a little bit of a higher caliber. And yes, I know I'm a business coach, so I have a little bit different of an opinion on that. I'm a little bit more biased on that, but I do notice, and they notice it is so much more personal. I want you to imagine somebody calls my center and I answer the phone as, hi, thank you for calling Zoom Around Preschool. This is Evelyn. Can I get your name, please? And you tell me, Mandy, your name just popped up, so I'm going to use your name, Mandy. And, well, hi, Mandy. I hope you're doing a wonderful day, or you're having a wonderful day. How can I help you today? And Mandy tells me, well, I have a 3-year-old that I need care for. Oh, what is your 3-year-old's name? And let's say Sarah. Well, okay, so is Sarah potty trained? And then we go in and I'll give them the spiel about my center, right? Like, well, let me tell you a little bit about my program. We would be happy to have you and Sarah come and tour my program. Mandy, what time works best for you, right? And then at the close of the phone call, I would say something like, well, I look forward to meeting you and Sarah, Mandy. Have a wonderful rest of your day. So now imagine she calls somebody else, the center, and they just answer the phone, zoom around. Hi, okay, well, here's the information. This is our price list. We're open. Just come on down and give us a tour. And they can be totally sweet and just the sweetest person in the world. But that lack of personalization and professionalism, and now imagine also in the background, you're hearing all this noise, right? That is going to make a huge difference. Let me know in the comments if you were the client. Let's say you're calling a dentist office and the dentist number one that you're trying to decide on, which dentist am I going to go to, right? And this dentist is, hi, this is Big City Dental. My name is Sarah. Can I get your name? And again, I'm going to use Mandy. I'm going to use it. Yes, my name is Mandy. I'm looking to try and make an appointment. Oh, Mandy, we would be happy to help you with that. Are you just looking for a teeth cleaning or what? We have some availability. We can probably get you in. She's like, oh, yes, I'm looking at this. Oh, yes, so my dentist would love to, we'd love to have you as part of our clientele. Why don't we schedule you for this day, Mandy? And we'll see you soon. Now imagine she calls the competitor and it's like, biggest little dental office. Yes, we have availability. Yes, I can schedule. Okay, well, 10 o'clock, who is she going to choose? The person who was friendly, personable, and professional, or the one who just went through the motions of life without intentionality, right? Really put yourself in your client's shoes. And when you take yourself to that next level of professionalism, it really does show. And people a lot of times will really just be stunned and they notice the difference. When I took over my current center at Zoom Around, I owned a different center at the time, and I shut down my first center and combined the two because the facility was so much better at Zoom. But one of the things I got all the time from the community, especially the places that we took our children for field trips, was the difference in the level of professionalism. We always took our children to the pool. And the pool administrator called me one day, and I didn't know this woman. She didn't know me. And she just basically said, Evelyn, I think you should know this center that you're purchasing is nothing like the business you run. And I was like, well, how do you know that? You don't have children enrolled in my center, and and you don't know me. So how do you know that? And she said, the level of professionalism that your teachers come in with when they're bringing children to the field trip to the pool, the way they are attentive and obviously trained in their job is so different that I know that the culture of this center and who they are is completely different than what you're used to. And she just said, as a professional, I just wanted to give you the professional courtesy to let you know what you're getting yourself into. And I did. I knew what I was getting myself into. It's what I actually, one of the things I love doing is fixing centers that aren't where they should be, right? And so it really opened my eyes to, this is a person who's never set foot in my center. She's a person who did not know me, but just by the image that we are intentionally putting out into the world, she knew the quality of my program. She knew my program was better. And it may seem like a small thing for your website and your online presence to be up to par. It may seem like answering a phone is just answering a phone and it's unimportant. But those are the images that you're putting out into the world that is going to tell customers whether they're going to enroll with you or with your competitor. I cannot tell you how many customers we have that don't even bother to go tour any other center after they tour mine, because the level of professionalism is just so high. And I've been told countless times, I cannot even begin to tell you how many times I've answered the phone personally and been told, well, the way that other center answered the phone, there is no way I'm putting my child in that program. I have parents that drive 45 minutes to bring their children to drop them off at my center. They drive 45 minutes to get back to work, in which their job is about 10 minutes away from their home. And then they do it again to pick up and drop off. And that all starts with every step is intentional, right? So yes, the phone call is that important. Every piece of the puzzle that you're putting out into the world is that important. So I hope that was helpful for you guys today. And again, I'm just going to reiterate, we, as an industry, we so desperately want to be seen as professionals. We get so upset with the fact that teachers are seen more professional than we are in ECE, right? The K through 12 world. But a lot of times we don't want to act like it. And that is where we as a profession need to take accountability, right? When you start acting like it and bringing yourself up to that par, I guarantee you will be treated like a professional, because I know my center is very well respected within my community and my state. So that also equates into enrollment, because everybody wants their child at the best. And really, you can be the best. We can all choose to be the best. It's just really putting and being intentional about every little thing we do. So I hope that was helpful. It is time for the word of the day. Thanks, Rashawn. I know that's my soapbox, right? So it's time for our word of the day. And today's word is children. So I did, no, we don't want to put it in the comments, do we? I was almost put in the comments, but we don't want to put it in the comments. Yesterday, I gave you guys a little bit of a cheat, but I realized people can just kind of fast forward through the video and see it without watching. So I'm not going to do that today. But the word of today is children. So make sure you send that word to your concierge right now. Get that in there. And so that they know that you were watching. Even if you're doing the replay, that's okay. That is no problem. You send it to them with the replay as well, and we'll enter you into the drawing. We have some amazing announcements coming up this week as well, you guys. I'm so excited about some of the things that we have coming up, but make sure that you DM your concierge. And let me know if you guys have any questions. Let your concierge know if you have questions. Every time I do one of these boot camps, I do a question and answer session with you guys. So I believe we're doing that Monday. I've got to get with my team to see what is on the schedule for that. But basically, we're gathering your questions throughout the week. I do like to take live questions as well. So let them know if you have a question, and we will answer those questions for you. So I hope you can join us tomorrow when we just get into more detail about, let me go back into my notes. Again, I'm sorry, I don't have, my screen's still not working, so I have to literally change and make it come back. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about the tour, which is so vitally important. We're going to get into COVID style tours and traditional tours, and why you really want those traditional tours. I know we have to adapt them, but we want parents in our buildings. And we will talk about some adaptations though. So tomorrow we'll talk about the tour. And again, Thursday, we're talking about follow-up, which I'm telling you, follow-up is game changer. And Friday is kind of a bonus session, but it's also very important where we're going to talk about your center's brand. Okay. Oh, Sue, yes. Pam is probably yours, but she probably does have you. So if you communicate with Pam, though, Sue, that works too. So I hope everybody has a great rest of their day, and we will see you same time tomorrow.